education.
Avenue, and then we'll take it higher. Oh, we gonna...
Hello, I'm Michael Gove, the current Secretary for State for Education. This is Finn. He lives in Finland, but today he is flying to England to visit Education Avenue on a school's exchange programme. Finn will be staying with Stacey, who goes to the local state school, but in Education Avenue there are also lots of other children who go to the various other schools. India from the independent school and her little brother Spencer at the special school. Adam, who goes to an academy. Frida, who goes to a free school. Monty at the Montessori school. And Homer, who is homeschooled. Stacey and India are telling Finn all about their English education.
I go to a state school like most English children.
So, what are your classes like?
Our classrooms are pretty standard. They get really hot in the summer and too cold in the winter, and glare can be a real problem. The desks are in rows facing the whiteboard at the front. We have large classes of about 30 students and one teacher. We're normally put into sets depending on ability. We also have some special classrooms.
State schools are government-funded schools that provide free education for all. They are controlled by the local authority and follow the national curriculum.
Our school has recently become a specialist music school. We have a new music room and loads of new musical instruments. This is great, but it distracts everyone else as the walls are so thin.
State schools can now apply to have a specialism. They need to show a strength in the chosen subject, and in return the government gives them a grant.
How about you, India?
I go to an independent school. Our classrooms are like Stacey's, but we only have about 10 students in each class, which means we get lots of one-to-one help.
About 7% of children are educated in independent schools in England.
My parents pay for me to go to school, so there are really good facilities like a swimming pool and performing arts centre.
Independent schools were often founded hundreds of years ago in beautiful old buildings, and therefore can have problems with drafts, damp, and large echoey spaces.
We do normal lessons, but we also take part in either the combined cadet force or voluntary service. We do have to go to school on a Saturday though to fit it all in.
That sounds horrible.
I don't mind, it means we get much longer holidays.
Hi guys! Finn, these are our friends Adam and Frida. Guys, this is Finn. We were just telling him about our schools.
They all sound so different to mine. What are your schools like?
This is my school. It's an academy and certainly doesn't look like a state school. My parents say it looks like an office.
The Academy scheme was started as part of the Building Schools for the Future programme, which has since collapsed. It aimed to replace failing schools with new inspirational institutions, which receive a great deal of funding from the government.
My classrooms aren't like the ones in state schools. They used to be open to the main atrium on one side, but have now been blocked off because it was getting too noisy. We have interactive whiteboards, flat-screen computers, as well as lecture theatres and breakout spaces.
There is no standard template for Academy classroom design, meaning some experimental ideas may not work, like solar shading devices, which the teachers were unable to control. The 2009 Ofsted report says that most academies do still use traditional teaching structures despite their innovative buildings.
The classrooms are located around 3 courtyards, which have flexible screens used as separate space for small seminars, or open up to follow whole school assemblies. And a photo of every pupil is displayed in the main courtyard.
This promotes a sense of belonging to the school community. One of the major aims of the Academy system is to inspire pupils' attitudes for learning through their surroundings.
There are good facilities at the school, working kitchens, a media studio, hair and beauty salon and a professional theatre. My academy specialises in business. There is a mini stock exchange with large plasma screens and a boardroom for student meetings.
All academies have a specialism that influences the way subjects are taught. Academies are independent from local authorities and have the power to adjust the curriculum to reflect their specialisms. Just recently, existing state schools have been allowed to convert to academy status, receiving extra government funding.
I go to a free school. It's similar to both Stacey and Adam's, but the way it is set up and the buildings are different. My parents got together with other like-minded parents in the area to help get the school started with the help of our local synagogue. Like many free schools, our school is in a building that was once used for something else. It used to be a shop.
Free schools benefit from the same privileges as academies. They are publicly funded, independent schools, free from local authority control.
We have less room than Stacey does, and like many free schools around the world, our school is missing certain facilities. For example, we don't have a library.
They have freedom from the national curriculum, but are all still accountable via the same inspections as state schools.
That'll be Spencer, my little brother. He's autistic, so he goes to a special school. It's quite far away, so a taxi takes him on the long journey there and back.
Special schools are less common than state schools, so pupils often have to travel further to go to them.
Spencer, this is Finn. He's visiting from Finland and would like you to tell him all about your school.
At my school, we have lessons in maths, English and science, but we also have lessons on how to do the washing up and iron clothes.
Not all pupils who go to special schools know that they have a special need. Many of them struggle with learning the topics covered by the national curriculum and need to spend time learning basic life skills.
We go on lots of trips into the local community and the farm. We also have some fun rooms, one with big foam obstacles to climb on, and one with lots of different lights and sounds for us to explore.
Sensory and soft playrooms can help children with special needs explore and develop their senses and skills. Most special schools are funded by the government. The teacher-student ratio is much higher than in a mainstream school.
It was nice to meet you, Finn, but I should take Spencer home for tea. Bye!
Frida and I should be off too. See you later, guys.
Monty has invited us round for tea. Come on, he lives just down the road.
Hi guys, how are you? Homer's here too.
This is Finn. He's really interested in hearing all about our education, and you two are definitely taught differently.
I go to a Montessori school. Our lessons are taught in classrooms and in the corridors.
Montessori schools are private schools based on the teaching methods of Maria Montessori, where children are entitled to a full and free development, encouraging independence. The majority are primary schools, and children are all encouraged to interact with peers of different ages.
We always show others what we've achieved by displaying our work in boxes by the classroom door. My classroom has lots of different levels and flexible furniture. I can work with my friends if I want to, or go and do something by myself. There are lots of windows in our classrooms, particularly in the corners, and we all have a plant to look after.
Why?
I think it's supposed to teach us how to be responsible.
My school is totally different to that, because I don't have a school. When I was younger, I lived overseas, and there weren't any schools to go to, so my mum taught me at home. When we came back to England, we just carried on.
In the UK, it is not compulsory for children to go to school. It is, however, a parent's duty to ensure that their children are in full-time education between the ages of 5 and 16. There are no rules about how homeschool children are educated. They do not have to follow the national curriculum or take national tests.
So where do you learn?
Everywhere. My mum buys books to read, and teaches me at home, but I also learn about money when we go to the shops, go to museums to learn about science.
Don't you get lonely?
No, I have all my friends on Education Avenue, and I write to lots of my friends from where we lived overseas. In fact, I got this letter from my friend Brittany the other day telling me about her new school.
Dear Homer, how are you? My family recently moved to Malaysia and I'm going to a British overseas school here.
There are about 1,400 British schools overseas. They are not associated with the British government and are normally set up by companies or private individuals.
We follow the national curriculum and have all our lessons in normal classrooms. As there are so few of us, we have 3 different years in our class. I quite like that though. Our school's green and white and on stilts, but it's built in the same style as all of the local buildings.
British overseas schools sometimes have to settle wherever they can, leading to some unusual school buildings, like apartment blocks.
Anyway, I'm off to the beach. I'll write again soon. Love, Brittany.
So, Finn, you've heard loads about our schools. What's Finland like?
Well, nearly all our schools are through schools, and there's a school in most communities. I haven't heard of private or homeschooling before.
Hello, I'm Henna Vakunen, Finland's Minister of Education, the Finnish Michael Gove. Finland has one of the best school systems in the world. Children begin school at 7 as we feel by this point they will be receptive and eager to learn. All schools are run with a greater degree of autonomy than English state schools, and most are funded by the government. Some schools have a specialty, similar to academies.
Every student receives free school meals, healthcare, books, and school trips. We are never sorted into ability-based sets. But sometimes I need special help in maths and I'm tutored in a small group away from the main classroom until I have caught up.
Mixed ability classes encourage students to be inspired by their classmates and prompts others to help those who are finding subjects difficult. Tutoring aims to ensure that no child is left behind. Average class sizes in Finland are lower than England, approximately 18 pupils, and most schools are smaller too, with some having only 16 pupils.
In my school, we call teachers by their first name and take off our shoes to walk around. Teaching staff move with us as we get older, so we get to know them well. We also have opportunities to go on unsupervised outing like cross-country skiing.
The student-to-staff ratio in Finland is much lower than in England, and often classes have 2 or 3 assistants. All Finnish teachers have a master's degree, and it is seen as a vital profession within the country.
Wow, it sounds amazing.
Well, it definitely beats my school. I think we'd better go home though. Mum will start to worry. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
It's my mum and dad. Hello.
Hi Finn, how's your trip going?
It's great. I've made loads of Stacy's friends and have been learning all about their different schools. There are so many different options. Some have amazing new buildings and others are in places that used to be shops. They all seem to be taught in more or less the same way though, apart from one boy who's taught at home and another who goes to a Montessori school.
Sounds like you've been learning a lot. I wonder how different the schools will all be when your little sister is old enough to go on an exchange.